Hello, boys. How you going?
Yeah, good, Chief.
Good afternoon.
Well, what a day again, huh?
March has been the longest 6 months of my life.
It's almost over, mate. It's almost
It's
over.
the 97th of March today.
It's the 97th.
No, it is the 31st of March. This is a great opportunity for us to finish this month before April Fool's Day.
Oh,
What about they come out tomorrow and go, we're only joking?
Yeah. Best fucking prank anyone's ever played, I'll tell you that now.
I didn't
boys.
even think of that.
Whoa, 3 nice wines. Why don't we start with the first one?
Am I the only one who bought a white?
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
the only one,
as
man.
usual.
Oh, well, it's warm out there again. I did a red last week. Thank you.
It's a great idea.
It was.
Thank you. All right, Tempus Two. This is a 2017 Chardonnay. It's their Platinum series. It had a nice shining label, and I'm distracted easily. So it got me. We all know 2017 was a good year. It's not a Hunter Valley Chardonnay for a change. It's an Adelaide Chardonnay. We'll see how it goes.
All right, let's
Awesome.
try that. Always nice Chardonnay.
I was going to bring a Verdelho, and I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Nah, the boys are Cabernets or Chardonnay, I think. He's got the coronavirus, mate. And now I have to use...
Mate, I haven't been
I
drinking.
have to use a paper I worked so hard for.
I haven't been
How
drinking.
hard
I've
tissues
forgotten
are to
how pour.
find, Cam?
And
Seriously?
we just wasted. Unbelievable.
You're wasting wine and wasting tissue paper now too, mate.
Mate, I haven't been drinking for 3 weeks. I've forgotten how to pour.
You got the shakes, mate. You got the shakes.
What is this?
Here you go, man.
All right.
Just on that, if someone, you should have a break every once in a while. The amount of energy I've got, my shirt actually fits me. It's
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, boys.
Stay
Thank
safe.
you.
Well, we are safe. We have 12 square meters between 3 of us, so it's fine.
Easy done.
And it says you can only have one of your mates over. There's 2 mates here and 1 Chris, so we're all right.
No, we're very lucky we're working. We wouldn't be working. I tell you, we wouldn't be able to do this.
No.
All right, things have changed. Not bad, this wine.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all.
It's actually starting to give, you'll see. So where are we at? The biggest thing that I've come out with is that $1,500 a fortnight for employers to keep employees. So they call it, what is it? The job keeper.
Job
Wow, yep. It has to be passed on to the employees though, huh?
100% and passed on, yeah.
100%. We still don't know the details of it, though. I'm hoping I've got a meeting tomorrow with my accountant. I'm hoping he can shed more light on it. The 30% downturn threshold is going to be interesting. We went from have never made $1 in March to having the best month that we've probably had in 2.5 years. So we won't. I'm pretty sure if it's a 30% downturn threshold, we may not be eligible for it, which brings in a whole other bunch of issues.
No, but you may be eligible as of next month. And this is a silly thing, I think, that's happening, is that they haven't told people about that threshold. So I think that there's quite a few companies that are actually pushing back their sales, keeping the dates, or they're going to have a silly month, and they will qualify for that anyway. So in the end, everyone will qualify, man, because they're going to have mayhem otherwise, You're still going to have people standing off people if they don't have it. So in the end, the employees are the one losing anyway.
Yeah, just depends what happens between now and the time you're eligible. Like I said, I've really got not much.
The quick
of an
information
idea,
that I read on the site was the same period that time last year. So if you're telling me this is your best March you've ever had, you're going to have to delay it a month.
We didn't make a single $1 in March last year. We just done 130 grand.
Yeah, so it's going to be hard, You need 130% more than you did. You can't say
And
that.
it's just what happens between now and then. Like by May, we may well have downturned by
Absolutely.
well over 30%. But the money that's come in this month will then have to go to surviving until you work that out. It's who knows? And I'm definitely the wrong person to ask about all.
Did any of
things.
your sales fall over in March because of what's happened? Did you have
nothing.
nothing fell over?
No,
Mate, he's listing more than ever, mate.
Phone's been ringing off the hook, mate.
Yeah, well.
And because the beautiful thing about it is a lot of people, in a sense, are digging a hole for themselves. And I'm talking about our service providers. I have gone from it being 2 weeks to get a contract sometimes to 24 hours. I'm getting photos back in my email box to launch properties on the same day.
Yeah,
like everyone's gone from having these 48-hour waiting periods or don't expect a contract for a week to I'll have your marketing contract in your inbox by this afternoon. Because everyone's not sure of what's coming on, they've lifted their service and their performance levels have gone through the roof, and that's going to be something you can't reverse.
Right, that's where it should have been to start with, right?
I'm going to be ringing my photographer if he's dragging the chain on photos and going, mate, a month ago you were giving them to me in 12 hours. what's going on. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of good
taking
going to
some
come out of that, you know. And Foxtel, because there's no live sport, just gave us the movie package until June. So happy days for everybody. But yeah, it's been crazy.
But I don't know whether we've been heard, but at least now they are quarantining travelers,
Yes.
right?
And they're doing
We've
it
been
quite
begging
stringently.
for those guys to be locked out. I mean, I'm a bit disappointed that the taxpayer is still paying for these guys. They should have come back earlier. To me, I think they should have been contributing as well, because I think it's wrong for the taxpayer to fork out money for 2,000-3,000 people coming in and staying 14 days, right? It's going to be a huge amount of money that could have gone to the guy that lost his job from the restaurant a few weeks ago. I heard about people complaining, but we like to talk about it and do hypotheticals maybe today.
Yep.
And probably like get under the skin of some people, and we're going to try and be them, all right? Now, I'm not very good at being a loser, but I'll try my best. So we'll see what we can do there.
Cam's got you covered.
No, that's good. Now, what about the quarantining of shops, of cruise ships? Now, they shut all the cruise ships. They say no to cruise ships. So these are the things that they should have done maybe from day one.
Yep.
Someone else just died today from the Ruby Princess, the 19th death. The thing, part of the scaremongering that's going on in the media is they keep saying that the cases have increased and they keep saying that the deaths have increased and now we've hit 19, but they don't add the asterisks onto it. I think 10 of the 19 have been from the bloody cruise ship. 5 of the 19 have been from the same nursing home.
Yeah.
So part of the fear-mongering that's still going on is a very selective release of information. Channel 9 got me good, because it wasn't yesterday's announcement, it must have been Sunday's announcement, where the PM came out and said that in percentage terms the cases were getting smaller, had dropped from high 20s to low teens. The curve was starting to flatten, and 30 seconds after the press conference finished, Channel 9 put out a headline saying 500 new cases in a day, Australia has its greatest surge since the thing began.
Yep.
And what people forget is, because we're testing so many more people, the percentage terms that the Prime Minister's talking about is how many people tested versus how many people have got it. And that's dropping significantly. They're just saying, 500 new people got it, without providing any other content. And it's given the tin lid people, the people that have been abusing me on Facebook, that are saying we have to be locked down and fuck the economy, it's giving them more ammunition to just keep being absolutely bloody bonkers.
Yeah.
So, keep going, Channel 9, you fucking legends.
But that's media, and we've spoken about this before. This media in general giving half information, or adjusting information to suit their own needs. That's always going to be the media, and I think it's always will be the media. What we need to do, I think we need to, like we've always said, think logically and just with common sense and move forward with that. And we can have that knee-jerk reaction to the information we hear, and then try and sort of come back to reality and move forward with it.
I feel like the tide's turning. In the last few days, there's been a lot less crazies. I feel like there's more people actually in the media too coming out to our way of thinking. Whether they've listened to the podcast or not, I don't know. But there are many more voices now saying that crushing the economy before we've got a vaccine is ludicrous.
Yeah.
And I think the initial fear and panic and bandwagon of it, where, everyone fires up for a week or 2 weeks and then you never hear from them again. We said the same thing during the bushfires. What's the next big thing for people to jump on going to be? Well, clearly it's coronavirus.
Yep.
And even some of those lockdown fanatics have piped down a bit now, and the voices of reason are starting to get through a bit louder. I saw Chris Kenny on Sky last night having a real big rip in about not crushing the economy for no reason. Andrew Bolt on Sunday did the same thing. Don't often agree with a lot of what Andrew Bolt says, but he basically copied word for word what we'd been saying.
Yeah. And he used the actually burning the country down.
He used word for word, mate. I
Just
went,
about.
holy shit. And then I quoted it on Facebook, mate.
You know that line you used, Thomas?
Yeah, but let's not say so they can keep on copying it. This is good when they copy it. Now that you say it, they're going to stop copying it.
Keep copying
Let
us.
them
Keep
copy it. Let
copying
them
us.
copy
That's
it.
the thing. Keep copying us, because you've all got much louder voices than us, and that's all we ask for is the common sense to get out there. A nice plug at the end of it to say information source from the TL Wine and Wisdom podcast would be fucking brilliant. But I got crucified. I quoted Andrew. But mate, how good 65 comments were up to.
I saw that.
And
then I saw your comment yesterday about the same wombats.
Yeah.
Are they going to put their hand out for the stimulus
Mate,
package?
a couple of people actually accused me of preferring money over people's lives.
I saw it. I read your comments.
And it was, if you read my comments, you know that I wasn't getting personal with anything.
No,
I was only stating
factual
facts.
Yeah.
And in every fact, I said I don't want more people to die.
Yeah.
So for the morons to turn around and go, when they've run out of an argument, go, oh, it sounds like you prefer profit over people's lives. It was just so mind-boggling. And one of the blokes, I tried to call him straight away. I'm like, if you're going to come at me like that, we're going to have a conversation man-to-man. Wouldn't pick the phone up.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, fuck you. So I scrolled down his Facebook from 3 days ago where he had a post bragging about how he'd been to 6 supermarkets in 3 days looking for kangaroo, and then when he found it, he bought all the kangaroo so no one else could get any.
Yeah.
And I screenshotted it and I put it in those comments. I said, mate, you want a virtue signal at me? Look, take care of your own house. He wouldn't pick up the phone, but he'll accuse me of preferring bloody money over trying to save people's lives. And that's all we've tried to do. Ever since we started talking about the coronavirus, us three here, and any of my posts, don't crush the economy because too many people will kill themselves. Too much domestic violence. So many more people are going to die. And then for the tin litters to come around and go, oh, you just want money and don't care about people's lives, fuck you.
The other day I just took a little bit of time and I did the stats on, the death rate to domestic violence, increase of drug use, alcoholism and so forth. They all outweigh the coronavirus. Or every single one of those stats outweighed the coronavirus. And we've spoken about that before.
A big part of the PM's announcement, which got overlooked a little bit on Sunday when he was announcing all the money for mental health, was that the Google searches for domestic violence-related topics have gone through the roof.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're not even locked down yet. My wife, on the way down here, talked to me, there's a domestic going on over our back fence, and she said if it goes for much longer, I'm calling the cops.
Yes, yeah.
What people forget is that these kids that used to be able to go to school to get away from their abusers have now got nowhere to go.
Good point, man.
The wives who used to see their husband go off to work every day and get 8 hours of respite from getting their head punched in now have nowhere to go. The husbands who used to get beat up by their wives now have nowhere to go.
But I will say the government is doing a good job. I reckon they're doing a good job. They've injected a lot of money into the healthcare system to help people with depression, help men that are prone to domestic violence, understanding, how to control their. They've injected a lot of help into those sort of. What's the Beyond Blue and all those sort of places. They're pushing those helplines to help the community. So they're actually seeing what's coming in the future and what's here now, actually.
Well, it's common sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of the influencers online on Facebook and on Insta within their real estate industry and outside asking, are people more concerned about the coronavirus or are they more concerned about the economic downturn? And I think it's 60-70%. Everyone is saying they're more worried about the economic downturn than the coronavirus. Not to take light away from that, but it is an issue that we've been stating for the last 4 or 5 podcasts we have. This economic downturn will take more lives.
One of our favourite listeners, Mr. Panos, ran a poll on his Facebook page, and it was all real estate agents. If you're a real estate agent, are you more worried about the virus or the economy? And when I looked, it was 57% in favour of the economy. Mate, the 40% fired up in the comments and we're calling everyone greedy pigs and carrying on with all the rubbish. It is absolutely scary how uneducated people are on this topic. People who are willing to say to someone, you prefer money over lives in this situation just to score points, they're more dangerous than the virus. They are more dangerous than the virus.
But this is a time where we have to be also understanding.
Yeah, I understood. I never went back.
People are going to say things because their predicament dictates their languaging, their thoughts, their mindset. So we have to really be accepting. So let's get into a hypothetical now. Imagine now that we were employees. How would we be thinking? Let's say we are currently employed right now. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how would we be thinking?
Based on the limited information that's been put out up until yesterday, you would have been thinking, am I going to have a job? Am I not going to have a job? Am I going to be able to pay for my house? Am I not going to be able to pay for my house?
Yep.
Very easy for them also to join the tinfoil hat brigade and jump on everyone should be locked down, depending on the type of employee you are. I mean,
but it doesn't matter. Let's play every kind of employee.
Are you someone
that's
who's
the hypotheticals. I mean,
on that when you say everyone should be shut down, I think if you're an employee and you've lost your job, they're going to look for a quick solution. They want this over and done with. So they're going to want everyone in lockdown.
No, but a lot of people want to go to the beach too. That got proven. So are you one of those employees who's looking for a shutdown or to work from home in air quotes because you want some time off and you think your employer can afford it? Or are you someone who genuinely is worried about your future? And we've had a mixed bag and you can see all those emotions playing out from our employees. You just wouldn't know without proper communication, and that's where in our situation we've been very upfront and honest every single day with the staff about.
I'm not talking about the staff. I'm talking about, let's
employee.
think about them. We're doing hypotheticals now. So I'm going to play one so that you see it. So as an employee, I could be thinking, well, now the boss got the government to give me my pay anyway. So in many ways, you know what? I reckon the boss owes me now. He owes me $1,500 a quarter. That could be your behavior. What's another behavior? I mean, another behavior could be if the government is giving me that, I don't really have to work, right? We in sales, so sales offices should not have target on me. I shouldn't be working on target. You're not even paying my salary. The government is. You're going to have to remove that target on me. Whatever I sell should be mine to keep.
Yep, there'll be a lot of that. Do you want me to counter that argument, or do you?
Yeah, you can. No, you can counter. See if I say something, you can counter.
We're in
yeah?
sales, so if your sales base, if we all know what the wage in real estate's like, we all know how hard it is to live off $750 a week. Why do we get into real estate?
Yeah,
for the commissions, right?
Yeah, but
so
right now it's going to be much harder for sellers to put their house on the market. Right now, it's much harder for people to go out there looking for houses, let alone going into more than two of them looking at a house. So for me to put a sale together, Cam, that means I've gone out there and worked probably beyond what I'd normally do. So why shouldn't I be rewarded with way more than just having to reach a base? Do you know how hard it's going to be for me to reach a base right now? Shouldn't you remove the base and say, do you know what? Whatever you do right now, we'll split from here on. And we do that until the virus is finished. Because it's hard. It's hard for everyone. I mean, my wife is home with the kids. She's just lost the job. I'm the income earner. And instead of being home and not doing anything, I'm really going out there beyond my duty. And I made you money, Cam.
Yep. Well, that $750 a week where the government is giving me to give you, Thomas, is predicated on there actually being a business for you to be employed at to get that funding. And if we're going to go down that route and people are going to demand 50-50s of things and feel entitled and demand things of the business, there won't be a business for you to be employed at, because that will shut.
So we know that that's a case, right? So we know that that is a case in the real world. What Thomas is saying, maybe they need to look at the other picture and saying that in the good times, you're not giving extra back to your employer. In the good times, you're still going out there and making your commissions. And in the bad times, and when you don't make comms, your employer still got to carry that if we're below break-even point. So there is give and take in the society. We have to understand.
But right now, you guys are my leaders, and you're not paying $1 of those $1,500.
Well, we are. Maybe we have to. Well, let's look at that and let's sit down and have a chat and see how we can make this work together. Because at the end of the line, like Cameron said, at the end of this tunnel, we need to make sure there's a business for you to come back to. And at the moment, with that sort of attitude, there won't be.
How can it not be? All the salary has been paid.
Thomas, the government said if you're employed, we give you $750. It didn't say we have to keep you. So if you want to keep going down that route, I'm happy for you to go to.
That's not an argument that we're having, boys. That's now.
It's hypothetical.
No, but that's hypothetically. That's how I would deal with someone who was pushing that.
Is, right?
Yeah, I would just hypothetically, if someone was coming at me like that in this current situation, I mean. The beautiful thing about what's been happening now is you find out exactly who you want in the trenches with you, and you find exactly what people's mindsets and who they really are deep down. Yep. We've said before during the market downturn, you find out who people really are when they're under stress. Yep. We're finding out exactly who everyone is, and if hypothetically, if someone was pulling that stuff in my office, they wouldn't have to worry about the $750 from the government, because the $550 from Centrelink as a job seeker instead of a job keeper, they're going to have to deal with that.
Yeah, you say that, mate. But imagine now I'm your top performer. You're going to really tell me that shit?
But is your top performer then got your culture, got your back like you'd want to?
Yeah, but no, I'm not. As a top performer, I've got the right to say what I think, and I just tell you. This is a thing too with top performers. You know, we have houses, rental properties. We have a certain lifestyle that we have got the kids in certain schooling. We have to keep these things going. Mate, how the hell are we going to do that with $750?
I think there has to be flexibility on both sides. I think number one, flexibility. It has to be understanding on both sides. It has to be communication.
Yeah.
Seriously, I mean, and I was thinking about this. Every household will have every household with a mum and dad will have one of three outcomes. One parent's working, both parents are working, or both parents aren't working.
Yeah.
So each one of those three outcomes is going to be a different scenario. So you've really got to look at each case by case and have an open conversation with those people to work out a situation, work out a method through this. okay, maybe we can pay you what you're used to now and look at a repayment system in the future where you take a cut back, or I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, right?
Mate, beg your cow. But we've tried to reason with him. Hypothetically, we've just tried to reason with him for 5 minutes and he's still coming at us with,
No,
I'm entitled to
me
this,
as an
so-
employee, I'm just thinking that you guys are really taking advantage of me.
Okay.
As an employee, I'm thinking the government is giving you now something to hold on to me. It's not even covering all my wage. It's actually going to cover only part of my wage. I'm agreeing, right, in order not to put you into more stress, into taking less hours so that I just work for that amount of hours, let's say, to cover that amount. So I'm doing something already. I mean, I could actually stand there and say, no, the government is giving you $1,500 and you had to keep me working the 38. So you have to put something in. But no,
It's not the case.
I am negotiating with you by saying, yeah, okay, I'll take just that and I'll cut my hours down. But my life still has a certain amount of cost. Just like you running your business has got a certain amount of cost. It may not, but what does it change? So if I was to go out there and make more sales and go out of my way, and Joe Blow down the road, he's not really doing that. And he's happy just doing enough because he can do okay on the $1,500, but I can't. So I'm going out there and doing more. Why would I have a target of 40,000? He also has. He doesn't get there. I go over and I'm punished.
Well, we can look at adjusting targets.
right.
If our targets are based as a business on our expenses, we need
So
people
if
on
your-
certain targets
Your
to make.
expenses are being supplemented.
If that part of the expense has been supplemented, then the
Absolutely.
target maybe could adjust to suit. But that's a conversation.
This comes
yeah.
back to, again, open
So
communication.
zero is okay.
Hey, what?
Sorry, I missed that. You were in the
I haven't had a drink for 3 weeks, mate. Can you not fucking?
Anyway, so that's the hypothetical between employers and employees that in our field, we're going to have that. We're going to have that kind of discussion that sometimes one side will think that the other side is being unfair.
Absolutely, both sides. You guys are employers. I'm an employee. Yeah, I don't own my own show. I'm a manager. Don't own my own show, and I'm looking at it from both sides of the coin.
I can tell
and
because you
gonna-
just said you wanted to pay people their full wage till later and then ask for it back at another point. You can tell, mate.
Mate, love you. Listen, I've gone through my mind with a dozen scenarios for the
Can I
office.
just tell you that's not one?
Okay, and I was speaking out loud, and it's a rolling roster. I've got a lot of ideas in my head rolling through. But at the end of the day, both sides will have their stresses coming from different points of view. Those triggers on each of them will be different, whether it's a mortgage, whether it's a commercial loan, whether it's a rent you need to pay to your landlord, a commercial rent to your landlord, or your rent to your normal landlord on a residential property. The stresses will be coming from different places for everyone. But at the end of the day, I think that communication and negotiation to help each other out. I think as leaders, we need to be able to pick up the phone or have that face-to-face conversation, one-on-one, two people in place, with our employees to see how we can help them best. And I think that's the ultimate way you can do it.
Yeah. For me, if I was an employer right now, I would know how hard it is for a lot of our people who were on a great wicket and now have to relive on a very tight kind of budget. I probably would go out there to do whatever it takes to keep them very happy. Because I think that just as much as, yes, I agree with you guys, that employers can actually gauge my action by the way I behave right now, I too do gauge my leaders' action by the way they treat me right now, and I'm going to make sure they pay for it afterwards.
Yep.
So sometimes you have to have foresight and go, what is the smallest decision that will reap the smallest kind of consequence, you know? So I think in that respect, you're going to have to think. I personally believe that in this market, if someone's going to go out there and really work damn hard, I have no problem with giving them a bigger share. Listen, the way I see it, I truly believe that stage 3 has already happened, but they didn't have to even mention it. No. And that's one thing that we did not see, boys, is that we thought they were going to come out and say stage 3, all the big shopping will have to close.
They just snuck it in there, bro.
But they actually dwarfed the population that much that no one was going out there to spend anything. So the big store were losing money anyway. So in the natural kind of movement, they had to close. And so stage 3 was a natural event. And so we are probably moving towards some kind of maybe lockdown. I think that that's where they are heading us, especially with winter coming up. Being colder, there's going to be a much better climate for viruses to play.
Yeah, right.
And I think they are doing all they can right now, not only to reduce it, but to cut it down to a very minimal amount. Because when we're going to go in winter and we don't have a hand on this, you look at the figures overseas, you look at figures right now in America as of the 31st of March, I'm telling you, they haven't even hit the curve going up yet. It's about to hit the roof. Yeah,
The numbers are huge too.
So you will see the numbers. They'll make Italy pale into insignificance.
Yep.
You know,
I think something that was said on Sunday by the Prime Minister that again went unnoticed was he was very, very clear to say, I have more announcements to make, but we will not make them until we're sure the support network for the people that are affected by those announcements is already in place. And then, sure enough, yesterday he comes out and he's giving everyone $1,500 a fortnight. And to me, it didn't click to me straight away, but then I went, they're locking us down. He's now put the support mechanism in place, or the so-called support mechanism in place, depending on what way you look at it, for people who are going to be affected by further announcements. And the worst thing he could have done, which we've been harping on about, is lock everything down without giving anyone any certainty about their future.
yeah, we said that in our first one.
Yeah, exactly. So what he's done now is given a lot of people some sort of certainty about their future, and I think that's gearing up for a shutdown.
Okay. So you reckon the shutdown's coming?
Well, he's just given everyone
Shutdown, lockdown? Because there is a difference, right?
I think we've moved past the shutdown now. It'll have to be a lockdown, and I think the fact that, just as I said it, the fact that he's now given just about everyone in the country $750 a week, and he said on Sunday, I will not be making further announcements until support mechanisms are in place. So first thing he did was shore up the health system, give people access to remote doctor's appointments, a lot of stuff into domestic violence and mental health. Yesterday, he took care of people's money situation because
Those measures in place.
and to give people a sense of hope. I mean, now for blokes, we're talking about people topping themselves, right? Because we were crushing the human spirit. Now you haven't been sacked and you're not having to line up in Centrelink for $550 a week. We're trying to keep you in a job and we're giving you $750.
And you're not going to get evicted.
Which in the human condition, even though it's only $200 a week separation, the ability for someone in their head to go, yeah, I'm not on Centrelink, I'm not on welfare, I haven't been lowered to that level, has now put the infrastructure in place. Whether it's going to be enough or not, it probably isn't, but the perception that the infrastructure's in place where now we can shut everything down and everyone will be okay is probably there, which may be where we're heading.
All right, let's do the next hypotheticals. Let's imagine we were politicians in this room now.
Wow.
One of us going to have to be from the Labour Party.
I'd be looking for a job in real estate.
One of us will be for the Liberal Party. And let's say that I'm, I don't know, for...
Greenies.
So how would they talk? How would we talk?
It's been too long since the government of this country has done anything to support the workers.
Okay, so he's
I'm
obviously
Labor.
he's going to be Labour. All right. So let's make you, Chris,
Oh, hang on, he's
part of the Liberal. Okay.
Oh, this is a role reversal because you're an employee.
So
Well, there you go.
so would the politicians talk the same language? I mean, after all of these things having not been done, how would they handle this? I mean, I would probably say that
You're a greenie.
really the planes should have been stopped earlier, because we probably would have stopped the population from being blamed for this virus being transmitted from one person to another. And also the fact that now it's going to cost us way more than whatever the Liberal Party has been putting on the desk, on the table, because it's going to put us way more to fund for things such as mental health issues that are coming up, and also the domestic violence that's about to rise now.
Myself and my Labor colleagues have just watched the press conference from the Prime Minister, and even though he stated quite clearly that the loophole that says if your partner's earning X amount of money, you're not entitled to the payment, even though he stated that very clearly that loophole will be closed immediately, I am going to hold a press conference outside my office and say it is I don't even have the big words for
Irresponsible.
it. It is encourageable that the Prime Minister has not closed the loophole that doesn't give single income families the same benefits as everybody else. Actually happened yesterday. Chris Bowen came out the front of his office as the Prime Minister finished saying that loophole will be closed immediately, and said it's disgusting that they are not closing that loophole. So because we're Labor, we're not going to actually listen to what's being said. We're going to have our own arguments, and regardless of whether problems are getting fixed or not, him fixing all the problems we're whinging about doesn't help us score politically, so we will just ignore what he said and whinge about it anyway.
Yeah, trying to get anyway.
Yeah, what about the One Nation Party now, where I'm going to be saying that, listen, while we're doing all this shit...
Thomas,
yeah, I know.
Thomas Le Hoang, the Belgian Vietnamese, is joining the One Nation.
Unbelievable.
So,
You heard it here first.
please explain.
Cam's lost it.
How?
You're slipping, Pauline. You could have picked it.
I believe in giving everyone a fair go. All right. So I want you guys, instead of really like talking about this stuff, really, but to look further into the tunnel. Have you really looked into like why these Asians are stealing our mask? Come on, man. Get back here.
Why are the Asians stealing all the masks?
Mate, he hasn't drank for 30 days and he has one glass of wine. This is the outcome.
How can we allow these Asians to steal our mask and our Nestle milk and sending it back to their home country and not actually repossess these things? I believe we should repossess them. If we have identified who they are, who they were, and did you see all of those Asians really buying from the shops and actually stacking up all of these things in the corner? Why aren't we repossessing all of these things and just redistribute it to all the centers that need that in the country? Let's make it a rule. No, first of all, we are no longer making things in Australia. And as a friend of Pauline, I know for its...
He can't even speak English. He can't even speak English and he's in the One Nation Party.
Do you think they shoot me? Anyway.
Are you a spy? You've got the worst disguise you've ever... Kim Jong-un's in the bloody One Nation Party. Oh, you could have at least put a wig on.
No, but many years ago when I said we should not allow the Chinese from buying our assets here.
Yep.
Now, not only we have to buy ventilators from them, not only they not being pushed to pay for the misinformation on the virus, and they should have let us know, and they're actually responsible for this. But on top of it, now they're making money on us by charging the same ventilators that used to cost 20,000. Now they're charging 50 grand for them. So you tell me, and that's 50,000 US, right? So you tell me, Mr. Government,
Mr. Liberal.
yeah, Chris,
I'm with Pauline on this one.
What are you going to do on that? First of all, the people that we repossess the mask and the milk from, and then...
I'm going to call my mates at Wine and Wisdom and try and find out the answer.
No, give us a serious answer, would you? Don't forget the Vietnamese One Nation Party.
I'm consulting all my advisors and getting as much information from our local government, state governments, our federal government, and our international partners to try and come up with the best solution to an unforeseen enemy and working in the best solution of the nation. We're doing this as a collective effort. And is it a perfect answer? No, but we will have as many measurements as we can to keep our nation safe.
No, no. I'm
and
sorry.
number two,
That is not our Liberal.
Shut up!
I'm
I
sorry.
didn't interrupt you. Shut up. Bloody import.
I'm going for the Greens next. I'm joining the Greens party next. Is that
I
all
want to
right?
go on the Hunter Shooter party. Seriously, the Hunters Fisher
The
Shooter.
Greens would be saying they've been very quiet. The Greens.
No, but have you finished your second
party.
point?
No. And the most important thing is to keep this economy running, so we don't work into a world recession, even a depression.
You didn't answer his question.
Oh, that's what's been happening all the way along in politics.
We at the Greens,
Deflect.
we at
Right?
the Greens would like to point out that coronavirus has feelings too, and everyone should stop discriminating against coronavirus.
Okay, so
if you're giving coronavirus all this attention, I
For all
demand
you
that you give
greenies-
herpes the same amount of attention.
For all you greenies, I say this. If worse comes to worse and we revert to cannibalism, vegans are the first things that are grass-fed. So you will go first.
No, but the vegan stuff, because most of the no.
Not as stuffed as the One Nation Party, mate.
No, because did you know most of the vaccine come from an egg?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so if they are totally vegan, they can't have the vaccine.
How good are anti-vaxxers looking at the moment, by the way?
Oh, yeah, you haven't heard much from them. But I tell you what, I believe Scott Morrison's and the Liberal Party, the government at the moment, is doing a bloody good job. They're doing a very good job.
Yeah, but you have to say that. That's right. Yeah, they have to say that.
No,
but
whatever, man.
I want to ask you one thing, all right? You from the Liberal Party, can you right now tell me that you're going to reduce the red tapes? That you can, because see, with a virus, every red tape's been crossed, has been cut, has been burnt, right? We just get things done just overnight. So are you going to abandon all these expensive red tapes that is stopping manufacturing and people in Australia to do things here, and start really paying us to build Australian things in Australia rather than having to go to China and buy stuff, right, to survive?
So I don't know how to answer that question.
And Mr. Prime Minister, I'd just like to point out,
How the fuck did I get the shit job?
Mate, you picked the Liberal
just
Party,
like to
so we
point
have to have a go at you, man.
Hawaii is an island. Islands are good for quarantine. Why aren't you in Hawaii this time round? And are you sorry to the Australian people that you went to Hawaii during the bushfire crisis?
My good mate Cam Wilson actually stated on that on one of his Facebook posts about I should be shot or something. I think that was it.
No, but I have to say that as a representative of the One Nation Party, we have decided to give all your Liberal members a one-way ticket on a special cruise.
Ruby Princess.
We have a special cruise that will take you away for about just 7 days.
I'd just like to, as a representative of the Hunter and Shooters Party, I'd just like to let everybody know that if you come for my toilet paper, you're fucked. I will blow your fucking head off.
So now you see it. Each party has to give their own angle. And this is what people have to understand. You'll follow a party. They have to dictate the way they believe onto you. They have to set their belief onto your agenda. That's what happens. As a human being, we have to have that ability to develop the ability to see what's right for what's right, not just what's right for my party.
Yeah, that's
So, for example, now let's go even further now. If you were a health worker, a nurse, or a doctor, how would we talk? So, I'm sorry, all right, this time, you're going to be the nurse, Cam, right? You're going to be...
Yes.
And I'll be the doctor, for example, and you're the health worker, like the psychologist or counselor, for example. So what will we be saying? Me, as a doctor, I would say I would go for lockdown, because lockdown is the only thing that flattened the curve and reduced the amount of beds, and make sure that we don't put stress on our hospital system, our healthcare system. So we have to lock it down. I don't care about the economy. Health is number one, because unless you have health, nothing else matters.
I just don't know if I can do it anymore. We're trying to help people and we come out and we're getting abused and we're getting spat at, and all people want to do is keep their businesses open. They don't give a shit about us. And that's flowing out into the community. Yesterday, someone tried to cough on me because I said they had to wait in the waiting room. I don't think it's right, and I don't know if I can keep doing it.
No, but it actually is quite true too for doctors and
You're the doctor. Will you stop breaking
for
character?
doctors, but also for especially for nurses.
happening,
I mean, some of them have to go to work, and they have 3 kids at home. How do they do this?
So a lot of them are self-isolating when they actually come back home, living in their own garage in a tent and so forth, setting up.
Yeah.
So they're separate from their own family.
You guys are horrible at role play. Can I just say?
Oh, well, get
No, but you're doing such a great job that we're almost crying in here, mate. I'm sorry, mate. So we had to stop, all right? So, no, you're doing a bloody good job. Especially I have a sister who's a nurse, and she's exhausted.
Yeah.
And she's exhausted. She's going on the same mask. So she's been learning on how to actually cleanse her mask and sanitize her gloves. Apparently now there's some coming into the country in Belgium, so they're going to do better. But do you know what happens in Belgium? People felt so bad for them that people started to crowdfund and decided to buy things for them, and also organize a special priority shopping queues for them. So when they go, they go through first because they have to go to work after that. You know? It's an amazing thing, man. I think as a nurse, you've done a bloody good job. They are exhausted. They're on the front line, And the bastard who dared doing that, he should have been thrown in jail.
Yeah, massive jail
reckon
time for any of that.
there ought to be now police in every damn hospital dealing with this shit.
100%.
Well, the police you saw that thing on Facebook the other day about a policeman trying to pull a lady over, and she spat at him. And said,
in the shopping center. Yeah.
And saying I was on the way to get tested for coronavirus, and she spat at him. He had to self-isolate for 2 weeks.
No.
There's taken a policeman off the streets.
Let me tell you, that's fake news, boys.
Okay.
Fake news.
That was fake news. That was actually a clip that was taken 2 months ago.
Okay.
Way before that. And
You're the worst psychologist I've ever been to.
so
I'd just like to say,
there's lots of empathy, mate. It's,
Dr. Thomas, I mean, you said about your sister in Belgium, and we're all a sisterhood, so much love.
Yep.
And our the health minister in Belgium actually had to make an announcement yesterday. Did you hear that one, Thomas?
what did he say?
No, she had to ban all sexual encounters of three or more people because there was a coronavirus party that turned in to a 500-person orgy, and 380 people from that orgy now have coronavirus. And that's just putting nurses like me and your sister, Dr. Thomas, at risk, and I don't think it's acceptable. The porn industry during this thing is going to go through the roof. Pornos are going to make so much more money, but what about the poor prostitutes? What are they going to do? Psychologists, can you answer the question?
well, there are a lot of helplines that they can ring.
No, come on, man. You're a psychologist. What would you say right now? What would be your point of view? Because again, you'd be thinking like someone.
So for me, we are social beings. You need to reach out and you need to speak to your friends and family.
You need to reach around.
There's a good joke about that, but I'm not going to say it. You need to reach out, and we are social. Humans are social beings. We cannot be put in isolation and not have an effect on our psyche. So you need to reach out and speak to those that you trust and that you can confide in and share the problems that you're going through.
But how do you do that when you only have one person at a time? I mean, you can only meet one person at a time these days.
You can only do what you can do. But if you can do...
Worst psychologist I've ever been to.
I'm not the only psychologist.
And they still get paid, and they say...
Yeah. The government has invested $1 billion in digital GP consultations for you to sit there and go, well, you've just got to talk to people and do the best you can. And you're still going to get paid $200 an hour for that. You're a disgrace.
A lot of counsellors are going to be busy. I think it's going to be the job of the future. That, biologists, people who are going to be studying viruses and epidemic. I reckon this is a brand new branch of society that's going to be brought into forces. I think that war, the way that we see it, it's probably no longer going to happen. It's going to either be the war on the internet with viruses and trying to steal information from each other, or it's going to be epidemic. And so we're going to have a totally revived, how can I say it? Not healthcare, but anything that has to do with studies of viruses and bacteria and anything that has to do with that field is going to be, biological warfare or preventions. It's going to be the way of the future for a lot of people.
My mother and I were actually speaking about it last night. I've got 3 young kids, and back in the day, you used to push kids into a trade. If they weren't going to be rocket scientists, you'd push them into a trade. This happening will completely change the way we think about any of that stuff. I mean, what are your kids going to aim for as far as not being in a position that, my mother's got a construction business that employs 30 people, and she's under the same sort of stress that we all are, wondering whether things are going to continue or we're still going to have a job. Who still has a job at this stage and who's flourishing? Well, people with online businesses, people in the technology field are going to gain out of this. Biological, anything to do with healthcare is very secure and moving forward, and that's going to be the way of, I think. Obviously, kids still need to learn how to read, write and count, but the focus in the future, lawyers will still be safe, but what jobs are going to disappear forever in the new world that we talk to? Because there will be some that cease to exist. Yeah,
not only that, right now, man, if I had to really, it's not that I have to create a new job and a company, but if I had to, mate, I wouldn't open a cleaning business. I'd open a sanitizing business. I would make a killing. You know, I would find a way to
protective
just
clothing manufacturer. Jesus,
man, it's going to be amazing business. Seriously, if I could go into this building and say to every officer, I'm not here to clean, I'll sanitize your entire thing. Whoa, I'll get your entire business here, right? I'd be so busy, man. I mean, that's not what I really want to do, but there's going to be a lot of these new things happening.
I think short term, yes. I think long term, those businesses won't be as sort of long-lived. Short term, absolutely. I think long term, what are you frowning for?
Because we disagree with you, man.
Okay.
we've just finished saying the world's heading to biological warfare.
We disagree.
Long term, I think that'll be a short-lived, as you need them basis. But I think the long-term businesses are going to be entertainment. If people are going to start working from home and so forth, it's going to be online businesses, like you said before. The sharing of information. So how do people share their information, like Zoom meetings and so forth? I don't think the sanitary business.
You don't think in a world of biological warfare and disease pandemics, there's a place for a sanitising business.
So you're going to say this is going to be the norm?
People don't have to send soldiers into a country
we're talking
anymore.
about like new things that are going to come out, man.
People don't have to send soldiers into a country anymore, mate. They just have to develop a pandemic.
I understand that, mate. But do you think this is going to be a long-lived thing? People are going to need things sanitised, like
I think so.
Whether they do or they don't, they're going to think they do.
I think that the way of the future is going to be very clean. It's going to be everything in regards to health. You will see. I believe it's going to go that way.
What do you think?
Mate, every single time we just look at the history is shaped by
Major events.
crazy events, right? And because those crazy events change the entire way of living.
How many inventions come out of the war? Can I just say, speaking of clean, right? We were all in Singapore a couple of years ago. For the most part, or the parts we were in, how clean is that city?
Yep.
Yep. And who's got the lowest rate of infection amongst all countries?
Yep.
Singapore. I think TL's right. Cleaning businesses in air quotes, so whatever that encompasses, whether it's sanitising or cleaning, I think great industry to be in moving forward, obviously. And then you're not wrong about, I'm not disagreeing with you about entertainment and technology and all those things improving, but to sit there and go, this is just going to be a fad and you won't need to sanitise in 12 months or however long you're thinking everything's going to return, mate, wow. How can you... We've just gone through a worldwide pandemic where people are too scared to leave their house. There's going to be great money in sanitizer for the rest of eternity, mate.
Let's get on to the next thing. What if we were self-funded retirees or young university graduate?
Which is which? Because the self-funded retirees, if they're living off their super, have lost most of it in the share market right this second.
Yeah.
So their future plans are limited.
What do you think of that wine? Right? So Peacock Hill awesome. From the Hunter Valley, 2017. It's called Cabernet Shiraz. It's a small house we had before, but
man, that's good.
You won't find that bottle again. Man, the self-funded retirees, they required to remove a certain percentage of their investments every year, each year. So I think it's 4%, isn't it?
I'm not sure, mate. You're closer to that age than me. I'm in the young university student column.
So what would they be thinking? First of all, I'd probably be thinking they're really not looking after us, right? They're giving $750 to every retiree, but that doesn't even compensate for the loss we had. So if they were really Fed income, we've worked hard for this. I mean, we don't just turn up at the age of 65 with money in the bank. We had to work hard for this. So suddenly now the guy that's just retired, never worked hard in his life, never done much, now receive the same $750 as us, and no one's going to compensate us for our loss. As usual, the self-funded retirees are fucked every time that this country's got a problem.
Is this situation going to reform the way super's worked, and have we found a problem with...
If they have any super left.
Yeah.
No, but obviously super's based on the share market essentially.
Not necessarily.
So no.
No.
So if it's if self-funded retiree, generally speaking, they'll have property investments and living off the rent, which will be paid, and they'll live off the rent.
But super in general,
super in general is not on the race. No, it's not. Only roughly a certain percentage, maybe no more than 20% is stock market driven. The rest they put in securities, into housings, and into funds that are absolutely secured. So they have a widespread of investment.
So this isn't going to bring about any reforms.
No,
in
but
that sort of space?
self-funded guys are onto houses.
Yep.
So now houses.
Lots
I'm a
of land in
self-funded
Brooklyn,
retiree. I've got 3 properties, but now the government just said your tenant cannot be evicted, and they decide, you know what? Fuck you, I'm not paying. How do I live?
$750 a week, brother.
Your 750 is not gonna make it for me. That's for the year, by the way. It's not gonna help me. So what do I do now? Do I have to sell my assets in order to survive?
Yeah.
Probably.
I think that I'll never vote Labour nor Liberal. I think I'm gonna go for Pauline Hanson from here on.
We're just having trouble working out what Pauline Hanson stands for anymore, mate. It used to
She's standing for her daughter having to come back to Tasmania because her daughter, I think, might have coronavirus. So she wants an entire plane.
It used to be about white Australia there, and now there's Belgian Vietnamese delegates that are fronting the camera.
No,
and
we're
can't-
doing hypotheticals,
I know,
okay? We're
that's-
doing
I
hypotheticals.
was asking a hypothetical question.
As I said many times in my life, I'm Vietnamese born, brought up in Belgium, so mainly speak French. I'm probably the only Asian who goes to a Chinese restaurant asking for a fork. When they come back with a fork and they give it to someone else, I usually go, no, that's for me. Or when they come to me and they start yakking to me in Chinese and telling me the entire program of the entire menu, and I usually say nothing. Right? I just look at them and I nod absolutely. And when they finish, I say, listen, if you can do it again in English or in French, I've got no problem. Let's do it. So someone like me is well placed to represent Pauline. I'm sorry, I'm asking real questions here because
I don't know
I
enough
don't know the
about
answer to the self-funded retirees. If they sell their assets, the good thing is that they don't have to pay capital gains. That's always been the case. That's a little of consolation to what they're going through. Will that 750? Where's the 750 coming up for the retirees?
No, old retirees receive 750. Do you know, like that was the first package when they
one-off payment.
Yeah, one-off payment.
Yeah, big deal.
Yeah, I know it's a big deal, but for a lot of people, it's not such a big deal, man. So
University students still live at home. They've got a HECS debt. They don't even have to pay for their schooling, and they can just sponge off their parents $750 a week.
What's
so.
the thing when you're at school? You also get some sort of a payment when you're
Oh,
studying.
yeah, that's if your parents aren't earning enough.
a
You
certain
get
amount or so forth.
what is that?
Oh, there's a Centrelink payment that I can't remember what it's called now.
I'm starting to like Centrelink, mate.
Yeah, there's a Centrelink payment for students from low-income families that
there's-
get a. I can't remember what it's called. I've never had to do
Study
it.
something.
Is it? I should send the twins.
Study. Yeah, that's it.
I'll get the twins to queue up.
Yeah,
Uni
no,
of
no.
line up.
12, I think it starts.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
11 or 12,
okay, not too young.
But yeah, they get those payments. University students now, though, they wouldn't be going to classes. I mean, I know their semester is probably over for the year for this.
They're doing online. I know a few
But
TAFE
online.
courses that have just been shut, and you're told you have to start again when all this is over. But I think with the unit, their studies are going online. They would have been one of the hardest hit when they first shut bars and restaurants. We've said that before. The majority of people who fill those jobs are people who are just trying to make some coin while they're studying.
Yep.
But you know, back when I was coming through, I moved out of home at 17. I know plenty of 30-year-old children that are still living with their parents. So will they suffer the same effects? How is Alex's plans to move out? Is he still on, or is he?
Yeah, no, Alexander is still planning to move out. I told him that I'd be the first to help him out.
Did you start packing his bags for him?
No. I'm very respectful of his things, but I'll be even though I've got a bad bag, I'll be the only one. I'll be the first one to carry everything out. I love these kids who've got no money, who's so arrogant about their
Serious
shit.
question though. Has his plans changed at all? He was looking at moving out. Yeah.
Listen, man, I don't want to know. I think that for the moment, poor young Alex has been in confinement, and for the last 3 weeks because he's been working from home and he's only leaving the property just to go for a run.
Made it $200 an email. I'm not going to feel too sorry for him. If he's at home, he can send lots of emails.
But it's a good question. Let's imagine now we were a young university graduate. How would we feel? All right, I'm going to do one that is a red bag, okay? I'm going to try and be one.
Depends on the industry you're studying too. If you're studying one of those fields where there's going to be nothing to go to because it's going to be oblivious.
No, let's imagine one where I just graduated, I got a job, but I've been fired because of what's happening right now. Man, I couldn't give a shit about self-isolation. right? Because I know the facts. The fact says I will not die. The facts say I am probably going to have stealth kind of symptoms and get out of this no problem. Secondly, I'm very angry. I'm angry that now I've just spent 4 years of my life to study. I'm about to start my life. I just got this job and now I've been put off. I'm pissed off, mate. And the government is not looking at me. The government doesn't even recognize a 22-year-old's dream has just been shattered.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing when these people can't see the long picture and they only see short term and not long term. It's not shattered, it's been postponed. And that's the truth of it. These people need to be realistic. And the worrying bit is what you said previously, Thomas, about these people think they're bulletproof. They might be bulletproof to the disease, but they're not bulletproof to the consequences.
No.
Whether it's their parents or their grandparents.
That's evolution and biology, though. We're fighting against human makeup there, where people of that age are very
nonchalant.
Well, they've got no.
They're driven by hormones.
They're not risk adverse at all. They're you know.
No, but so far, I'm not hearing from the two of you an argument that's going to settle me.
Oh, I started real estate when I was 33 and I'm doing all right. So shut up. You're only 22. You'll be right. There's plenty of comebacks.
6 to 12 months. You started for 4 years. It's a delay for 6 to 12 months.
But you don't understand, Chris. Those 6 months in my industry could make me from knowledgeable to obsolete.
But you're starting at the same place where everyone else is.
Everyone's lost their job.
Everyone is in the same position as you. No one's advancing further than you or negative further than you. Everyone is in the same position that you are.
Oh, really? Are you saying to me that all of those guys at the government, they're taking a pay cut?
Why don't you put your youthful energy into coming up with a plan B, Tia? What can you develop and work on to make money?
I have a plan B. What about we just keep some of those federal ministers, just such as the Prime Minister and his mini board, right? Mm. What is it? The inner circle. And then we fire everybody else and then take that money to fund little guys like me who's about to start life.
More than your HECS debt that you already owe.
Absolutely.
Didn't you just do 4 years of free education?
No, that's HECS. I still have to pay. Did you know that
you don't at the moment, do you?
Sorry?
You only have to pay it once you got a job.
No, but I still have to pay afterwards.
Once you've got a job. If you never get a job, you never have to
you
pay
guys,
HECS.
I don't believe that you guys are really talking or seeing my point of view as a young person whose life has to be really a great beginning, and I've paid the price. I've listened to my parents, have done my freaking HSC, and I've listened to my parents and freaking did my years of uni. And now you guys have destroyed my entire future.
I understand where you're coming from. I've found myself feeling
usually people say that don't give a fuck about.
I understand where you're coming from. What would you like to see happen, Thomas?
What I like to see happen is that they should have kept young guys like me in the business.
Right. Which business? Because all businesses are being shut down, yeah?
Yeah. But guaranteed then that my job's there.
Which job? Because you haven't got a job.
No, I had a job. And then they had to let me go. Sorry?
Which job was that?
So I was a young lawyer.
So with the announcement yesterday, you know that if you were fired any time after 1st of March, you're now back with your employer and paid $750 a week.
So it's up to you now to move forward.
But I can't live on $750 a week. That doesn't even pay for the fuel in my car.
The whole nation's being asked to live off $750 a week, Thomas. Why are you different to the entire
looking
nation?
at you, there's no way that you are living on $750 a week.
No, I'm on about $300. $5 wines and microwave pizza, mate.
Evandale.
If $750 a week would be a massive pay rise for me, Thomas, I think you need to stop being so entitled.
What if I was the gym or the restaurant owner who has just lost either the business or their job?
Absolutely filthy and despair.
Yep.
So let's imagine that your
you
restaurant
shut me
business.
down too early. You shut me down before you shut the borders. You shut me down and made me sack all my staff before you stopped people getting off boats. You shut me down while there was 3,000 to 5,000 people a day coming through Sydney Airport. You shut me down before any of these announcements were made. So even if I wanted to save my staff, I didn't have a choice to at the time. You shut me down and you can still go and get a haircut. I don't care what you say at the moment, you liberal fuck. The ship's already sailed for people like me. I can't just turn around tomorrow and reopen my restaurant. No back pay of $750 is going to pay for the money that we've already lost.
So come on, mate. Liberal. What are you going to say?
Why does it have to be me?
But you've been liberal earlier, so you keep on the job.
Cam, you already said there's nothing I can say that can sway you either way.
Oh, you're fucking... Don't you run away from me. Provide an answer. That's what you paid the big bucks for.
You just said there's nothing I can say.
You're there to
that's gonna
provide
sway
an
you either
answer.
way.
I didn't say there was nothing you could say.
You did. In your words, nothing you can say is going to take my money back and change my mind. You said that. Nothing I can say. All I've done is hopefully put in place items that will help you to reignite your business.
You killed an entire industry before you should have.
Okay, we're talking about the future. We're talking about the past because we can't move in forward looking backwards.
So you've got no empathy towards my situation.
Absolutely, I have, and I feel
over
for
$300,000
many
restaurant.
sleepless nights over all the people that unfortunately have been affected by this.
That's rubbish, mate.
Listen, as a supporter of Pauline Hanson, I have to agree with Cameron. I think, Prime Minister, that you should have stopped all these foreign casual workers from China from stealing the jobs of our children. And maybe this is the plan I had. If you had fired all of those Chinese from having the jobs in the hospitality industry and forbidden the Chinese patrons from going to the restaurant, we would have been okay. We would have still kept the 1.5 meters distancing law all right. I think that you stuffed up. You killed an entire industry where if I was in the government, I would have stopped all that shit. I would have just organized a restaurant to have 1.5 meters from each other, and there was no problem. I mean, you look at this. You fired a restaurant because of the laws of proximity, and yet you have guys who sit on the train going to work in the city, shoulder to shoulders. People sitting in the bus, touching each other.
You say you care about mental health, and you've taken away anyone's ability to exercise.
No, I haven't.
Yes, you have. You've shut down
You
all gyms.
can walk out your front door and you can run around the street.
You're not taking this seriously, mate.
I certainly am. I have not taken away
I
your
own
freedom
five
of movement.
gyms. I own 5 gyms that rely on $10 a week from all our members so that they can come and clear their heads, keep sound mental clarity, and I can feed my family. You shut that down, but you're letting 5,000 people through Sydney Airport every single day until 3 days ago. You're a disgrace.
Come on. Listen, so number one, Chris. Number one, I don't believe that you own a gym. Look at you.
You ate a gym.
I said own. I said own the gym. I didn't say participated in the gym. I said I own the gym.
What fucking gym charges you $10 a week? Everyone that I know of charges a lot more than that.
Yeah, well, you're in Sydney, mate. Central Coast $4.95. Planet Fitness. Thanks for coming.
$4.95.
You are deflecting from the question. The most important thing in anyone's mental well-being is their ability to exercise.
Prefer your customers to be there in 6 months or dead in 6 months? What would you prefer?
They're all going to find new ways to exercise now, and the gym business will be dead because people are going to be used to walking outside. So you're telling me you're a non-essential
business to start with?
You aren't taking my feelings into consideration.
Oh, no, I'm not worried about your feelings. I worry about the economy of Australia and the welfare of the nation.
You can't say you're worried about the economy of Australia. You shut down gyms.
You stop interrupting me. I'll let you have your talk. Now let me speak.
So now you're talking rubbish, mate.
So no, as is.
I'm so worried about the economy of Australia that I shut down all restaurants and all gyms, but still let infected people get off planes and boats. You're an idiot.
So now we've implemented high contingency race.
Now you have. I'll say
containment regimes.
Okay, cool. So can I reopen my gym now, please?
No.
Why?
Because so far it's we can only have one person meeting in any one space.
So you've shut the borders. So people aren't. 2/3 of our cases have come from people who travelled from overseas or know someone who has.
Right.
The numbers are going down. The borders are now shut. I'd like to reopen my restaurant and my side hustle in the gym. Thanks.
We'll let you know as soon as we can do that. And
I agree with Chris for the moment. Listen, mate, if you can prove it to me that none of your gym equipment comes from China, where the virus comes from, then I'll let you open, okay?
You sound a bit racist against Chinese.
We had to close you down because all of your apparels were made in China. So you've got the virus.
Neither of you are taking this seriously.
Inbuilt, right? So
I feel persecuted right now.
Nah, listen.
Go for a run.
I think we have to apologize to all the gym guys and the restaurant owners.
Absolutely.
We made policies that were a little bit reactive. So those policies being reactive we had to look at, all right, what is the industry that has the most amount of people like touching each other almost,
Public transport,
sweating against each other. But we can't do public transport because that gives us money as government. But and because it's also send people to go to work. But the gym and all these things, that's not really affecting our money. It's like, hey, guys, do not tell anyone. No one should touch our salary. All right. The day they fucking touch our salary, that's it. We're gonna go on a revolution. So we can't touch anything that is governmental. All right. And so yes, gym and restaurant owner. Well, we're going to open this, and as a good Australian, we asking you to pay the price. Yes, now the 1,500 bucks should allow you to make amends for some of those shit that we have created in your life. The anxiety, the queuing up at Centrelink, the sleeping in front of Centrelink, all of these things that demean the humanity into you. We're very sorry, and we hope that the word sorry will be enough.
My brother-in-law spent 25 years building up his restaurant, and you took it off him on 12 hours notice, and he's already thrown himself off the gap.
Well, we are very sorry. I mean, Mabo.
You're bad?
It's like the young people would say, that's a you problem.
Because you shut him down 9 days ago and only come up with this package yesterday. So what? How many more of my brother-in-laws have thrown themselves off the gap?
We had to fight the state government because they wanted to close other things.
McDonald's is still open, yeah? Just clarifying.
Drive-through.
Only drive-through.
Yeah.
We had to flatten the curve.
Can't sit next to anyone in the car.
We had to flatten the curve as best we can with what the tools we had.
It's a good thing that you talk about McDonald's, because the way that they build inside the restaurant, there's no fucking way that they're 1.5 meters from each other.
Internally, no.
No.
But they're at work.
And my brother-in-law's already dead.
But they're at work, so...
You haven't even said you're sorry, Chris.
No,
I
have said
Thomas
it.
Hoang,
I'm sorry.
The One Nation member, said he was sorry.
I'm sorry that you actually speak up now and use a proper volume, but anyway.
So that you know, we actually just 2 days ago, as a nation, One Nation, not the Nation Party, the One Nation Party, we actually made.
You're all nations party.
We actually created our new salutation. We go Mabo now. Well, boys, it's been a very good hypothetical. I have to thank you for this, and we're gonna have to go on to our next subject.